my parents playing house growing up. I wanted to be the dad. I never wanted to be the mom. And it was just like, why do you want to be the dad? And like, I'm really over here, chastising the little boy, like, no, you're not going to be the dad. I'm going to be the dad. Like, no, you're a girl. You have to be the mom. And I'm like, no.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black, LGBTQIA plus individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA plus individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. We have a special guest with us today, Miss Tracy. Go ahead and tell the people about yourself, Trey.
What's up, guys? My name is Trey. I used to play basketball professionally overseas. Right now, I'm just doing YouTube. My couple channel is Nikki and Trey. You should subscribe to that channel, and also subscribe to my friend Ash. Let's get it.
Yeah, Nikki and Trey, man, y'all crazy. Y'all shout out. It's a great channel, man. Definitely, y'all go check out their channel. So go ahead, kick it off. When was the first time you kind of had an experience with where you kind of knew like, maybe I don't like boys like everybody else. Maybe I like girls. When was that for you?
For me, I felt like it was very early in life. Later on in life, I had a conversation about it, and I was, asking like, do you think I was born this way? Sometimes you get too in deep, but for the most part, I feel like for me, it was an early age in life. I just never seen myself with a man. I always see myself with a female. I used to have dreams about females. So I just never was comfortable with a man in that sense, but I always could befriend them. So a lot of times it was forced for me. Just because, of the same quote of you're too cute to be gay, and, you're supposed to be with a man and all this type of stuff. So for me, it was just real early on in life. Like I knew I didn't like mans in that type of way. So I knew women. So yeah.
Yeah. Like you talking like elementary, like early. Yeah. So do you remember like your first crush?
I remember my first crush. A lot of my crushes were like early on in life, it was like, friends that I hung out with. So I may have had a crush on one of the girls. It was never one of the guys. Like I never had a crush on one of the guys. And I always thought to myself, like, am I weird? Is something wrong with me? Oh my God, I need to tell somebody, like, oh my God, I like girls. Like, this is not okay. I need to like a boy. But even down, we're kids, right? So you play house, right? Mm-hmm. So the perfect example of my childhood. Playing house growing up, you can ask my parents, playing house growing up, I wanted to be the dad. I never wanted to be the mom. And it was just like, why do you want to be the dad? And like, I'm really over here, chastising the little boy, like, no, you're not going to be the dad. I'm going to be the dad. Like, no, you're a girl. You have to be the mom. And I'm like, no, so it's just like early on in life, I knew that I just wanted to be with women. It wasn't the fact that I wanted to be a boy, because I don't feel like I want to transition in that sense. I love that I'm a woman. I love everything about me being a woman, but as far as, like you said, intimacy is just with women.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I think a lot of people who who identify, in some level of queer, have that first experience usually like playing house, and it's like either you the mom, like you the woman, you the mom, but like you like, nah, but like I don't want to kiss the husband, I want to kiss like the woman, but just there's no language for it, right? And so then do you remember, or was there a time when you were that young that you talked to your parents about it, or that anyone said anything to you about it that made you feel like it was wrong? Like, so
yes,
were you ever caught like kissing a girl, or like some weird experience that you were like, oh my God, but wait, hold on, what's wrong with this? I don't understand. Like, what was that for you?
Like, are you saying early on or later on in life?
Early on, like when you were that young, trying to figure it out, like, I want to be the dad, and then like I like girls, I like my friends, but not like so much the boys. Right. Were you ever confronted with that when you were that young? So like 10, 11 years old.
I feel like it was ignored, but it was still brought to people's attention. Like, as I got later on in life, I was told that people came up to my mother saying that your daughter's going to be gay, and she will be upset. But they would say that, and I don't know if they saw my demeanor or the way I carry myself, but they would tell her that, yo, when your daughter get older, she's going to be gay, and she would get very upset. So I got caught kissing a girl before, but not by my mom. But yeah, they would come to her and say little things. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it was because when did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball at the age of 10. So
yeah. Do you think it had anything to do with you playing basketball, like them saying that, or was it just about you?
It was just about me. I feel like that's why they over like try to make me girly, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, my hair had to be top notch. I had to wear these clothes, and I just feel like they knew, but in denial, if that's a sense. Like, no, you're not about to be that way. Like, gay is not good. Like, yeah. So it was definitely said around me, like, no, you're not gonna be gay here.
Right. So then through high school, when did you come out? Like, how old were you coming out? Yeah.
So I feel like my friends been new since middle school, but to my family, my mom, actually, it was a whole situation. It's a whole story time. But she found out when I was in 11th grade. So by the time I was a junior in high school, everybody kind of knew, because I had a girlfriend from 11th grade to my senior year. Actually, my girlfriend, if anybody didn't know, you know how you walk out on senior night? Well, I had my mom and my girlfriend, but nobody kind of knew that everybody was still kind of figuring out if I was open or not. But I've been open as a junior. My mom found out as a junior that I was gay.
Yeah. So when your mom found out, as much as you're comfortable with sharing, like, how was that? Was it a conversation? Did she confront you? Did you tell her?
I didn't get a chance to tell her.
Oh.
But she did. I feel like in high school, there was a situation where she found some letters, and we kind of got into a situation when she was like, what is this? Woo. And I was like, that's nothing. Da, da, da. And it kind of like got brushed to the side early on in high school. So my junior year, this person that I was dating, because I don't want to put no names.
Yeah, for sure.
The person that I was dating, I was at this person's house, and their mother finally called us, but she said she knew the whole time, but she was open to the situation, but she knew that I wasn't open to my family yet. So she would allow us to hang out, but we took it too far. And she called us, and she finally, called my mother, and it was just all bad. It just wasn't a calm situation. It was very irate. And I mean, we eventually came to terms about everything. Yeah. And now everybody accepts me. They love me for who I am. Once I went to school, because after that, I went to college, and I came back, and they just had pictures everywhere of me the way I am now, and just showing that they accept me for who I am. So it was awesome. The beginning was terrible, but it turned out awesome. So like sometimes they just want to know, and they want to be there for you. So it's just like, I'm scared. So
yeah. For when you're you guys had that really bad situation, did it make you not want to express yourself at all, or did you lean into it? Did you feel like, man, like, I don't want my mom being upset about this, like, with me? Did it make you want to recluse and go back inward, or did you feel like, okay, well, we here now, so we'll just kind of see what happens?
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. It was the second thing that you said. Once it was finally out the bag, I felt relief. I felt like I was carrying that for so long. Like, that's too much weight for a kid to be carrying. Like, I'm sitting here hiding my truth. Like, I'm sitting here denying who I really am. So that's taking years off of my life. Like, that's taking years off of my happiness. Like, I'm faking right now. Basically, I should be a good actress. But anyway, I'm faking it basically, because this is not who I am. So once it finally, the cat was out the bag, I'm like, yes. At least it's out there. Now I can live in my truth. Now everything is just a journey along the way. I'm still learning, like, just day-to-day life. So it's just like, now that it's out there, my family accepts me. I don't care what nobody else thinks. Like, my family accepts it. I'm happy with who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. And that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. I always say, like, man, once you had to experience this, like, coming out and dealing with this, you're like, man, nothing else is like, everything else is cake after that, so then you play basketball, and I want to talk about that, because I think there's a lot of just preconceived notions about people who play basketball, specifically women. If you're a tomboy, you're gonna be gay, you're gay, all this like crap that comes along with that. And sometimes it's true, And then sometimes it's not, right? For you, did you ever experience anything with that in terms of like not wanting to live into it because of all the stereotypes that come along with girls who play basketball, in general?
I just never really wanted to, like, I tried to keep my relationship out of basketball for the most part, but sometimes, like, I guess with college, your teammates is kind of really much involved, but for the most part, I try not to date within that community so it doesn't get judged. And plus, those type of girls are not really my type for the most part, because some of them are aggressive, some of them do be feminine, but I really like feminine women. So a basketball girl probably wouldn't be my type of female. But as far as the stereotypes, I mean, everybody get judged, right? So it's just what comes with the territory. So
yeah.
But a lot of people, I could just say for the most part, playing basketball from the age of 10 all the way professionally, every woman that plays basketball is not a lesbian, is not gay. Like, I've seen it for myself. They truly love men as well. Everybody has their own sexuality playing basketball.
Yeah. So was there anything that you, because I imagine there's like multiple gay women on or LGBT women on a team. Was there anything that you were like hyper aware of? Because obviously it's like I'm from the vantage point of like professional sports right now, right? So there's a bunch of people who we see these stories that come out every now and then about people who are, openly gay, right? These football players, they're basketball players. Candace Parker even just recently somewhat just acknowledged, which something that, if you're in the community, you kind of knew, that she openly came out and said that she was in a relationship, married, and having a baby. And people are like, where in the hell have I been? Because, she was, married to this basketball player. Now but this woman has been around for like years, and so, but if you're not like tuned in, you don't pay attention. But for you, playing basketball, were there things that you were hyper aware of in terms of like, if you're in a locker room culturally, right? So if I'm in a locker room, like, I'm not gonna like stare at a woman for too long, or I'm not gonna like, there's like these little things like you like smack a girl on the butt, say like good game. Like, were there things that like as a woman who likes women that you are aware of that you kind of steer clear of, or were you just like, look, this is what it is, this is the culture, and I'm gonna just live into it?
Basically, with my teammates, I always just got to live in my truth. Like, nobody judged me. More than anything, they were open to everything. Like, we joked in that matter. Like, as far as our coaches, they were aware. Like, it's like recruiting situations, right? People going on recruiting trips. Like, you bring different people in. So the term for me, as far as a stud, is, hey, Tracy, I need you to host this girl. She's coming in. She wears a hat. So, for the most part, she wears a hat. He just ain't want to say that. He don't know the terminology. He's an old guy. So he's like, she wears a hat. So you need to know her. So I'm like, so for the most part, they were open. As far as them feeling uncomfortable around me, never. I never really dealt with people feeling uncomfortable or me making somebody feel uncomfortable about my sexuality. So nah, I didn't deal with that on my end. But yeah, everybody for the most part was comfortable. And it's just all about you living in your truth. Once people see you accept yourself for who you are, it kind of makes them feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Just break the ice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to normalize it. Like, just, it's normal. You're
normal. I'm a girl.
There's nothing, exactly.
I'm still a girl.
Right.
Like,
at the end of the day.
You have.
Yeah. Right. That's dope. So then playing overseas, with like from a acceptance standpoint, was there any differences in terms of how LGBT women are accepted overseas versus in the States?
Yes, because different countries have their own rules. So actually took me longer to get overseas than the norm. But I know with dealing with a lot of contracts, they wanted to know your values and things of that situation, which you believed in. So sometimes you could run into those situations. So you have to be careful and do research on a country before you accept the contract. So
yeah. And where'd you play?
I played in El Salvador, France, and Italy.
And I'm assuming all of those were different in terms of how they
handle situations.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Nice. So then now present day, you dated and kind of had relationships. You're in a relationship now, And if you guys want to know how they got together story, you could go watch it on their YouTube channel. They're very descriptive and talk very in depth about how they got together and their whole journey, got together, broke up, and got back together. So go check that out on their channel. But your girlfriend has a child. And so how did you guys not get together, but talk about how your lives will look with her having a child already?
Right. So beforehand, we kind of knew each other in high school as well. Like we met each other early on and tried to date, but situations with basketball and the way life works in her career, we just kind of couldn't run our course. So we still talk to each other. So that's why we had our kind of moral and values kind of in place. So we knew what each other wanted in life, if that makes sense, and we came back. She did have a child. We talked about it, and we accepted each other immediately, because that's just what it is. Like when you find your soulmate, I mean, it's just kind of in denial. Like I've done things, you've done things, but when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I just felt like we still learning this parent thing. I think parenting is the everyday situation. You learn something every day. Like I don't feel like there's a rule book. Like literally every child is different. So I mean, I love him. I love him like my own son. I mean, he knows me as his stepmom. We talk about a lot of things. He's very aware of us dating. He actually says we're married, even though we're not married yet.
Right.
But yeah, we have a tight family bond. So I love it. I love being a step parent. I love her son. I love her. So like, I love it. And I mean, we deal with our battles, in the public, being judged because he's a boy and, we're two females. But at the end of the day, we hold each other down for everything, and we're just taking it day by day. So we're learning.
Yeah. For you, going back a little bit, how did you get comfortable with her? Because I'm assuming there was a man involved prior to you. How did you get comfortable with knowing that you guys could proceed and that wouldn't be an issue? Because I think a lot of people are facing similar situations, right? And there's like an insecurity about how to feel comfortable with a woman who, has a kid. And it's like, that the love is there, but there's these things that are happening in your mind that make you feel uncomfortable, right? So what were those things that you did, or how did you guys get to a place where you could feel 100% secure in you guys' relationship moving forward?
Because it's all about how much you know a person, right? So you got to really get to know a person. And at the end of the day, there's studs. There's studs that have baby. Everybody knows Dama Wilson.
Yeah.
She came as a stud and she had a baby. So there's just as well as feminine women that had a baby as well, but that don't mean that they typically like men. And she has her own story on her own channel. She'll tell her story time about her journey. But for the most part, what I can say is get to know your partner, and you know how they really feel. Like you'll know if they went to a similar situation as you. Because most of the time people was born this way, but they were scared. I was scared. I didn't come out to high school, but I had situations with the male. I could have eventually got pregnant as well. But at the end of the day, that's not who I am. And I'm not stuck into that stigma. So at the end of the day, it's like, you really got to know, you have to know who you are, and your partner has to know who they are as well. And you have to trust each other to know that this is who we are and this is who we're going to be, and we're going to be together for the rest of our life, because sometimes a person can wake up tomorrow and change their mind, and that's okay, and that's on them. But for the most part, get to know your partner, get to know yourself, make sure that you're not wasting somebody's time as well, because I've seen people as like myself transition, and they wanted to date a man again. So you got to hold each other accountable for the most part. So just get to know yourself and get to know somebody else before you waste each other's time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, so that does bring me to my next point about you say transitioning, but like I'm assuming you're talking about, your image. And so because in high school, up until when I can remember, you were pretty feminine, right? Like hair, the whole thing. How was your transition for you in terms of your image, and at what point did you feel comfortable to just fully live into however you wanted to dress?
Okay, so I went through my battles. So when I first left high school, I still dressed as a female, but I had my difficulties at my senior prom. I didn't want to wear a dress, but I did it off the strength of my family.
Same.
Exactly. So, but I went home with a girl. But anyway.
Right. Balance.
No, for real. Sorry guys. But anyway, I went to college. After I went to college my freshman year, I ran into situations with guys as well. But I lived in my truth. I eventually immediately just felt comfortable with wearing what I wanted to wear. But at the same time, because I went to the school dressed another way, they wanted to lock me into the stigma, because of my, for the team's sakes and for my career, because of what I was studying. And we went to my battles there, but for the most part, they allowed me to live in my truth. I got to wear my tailored suit. I got to wear, they didn't make me wear a dress. So that's what I loved about the schools that I went to. I know some schools where women were forced to wear dresses for pictures and stuff, but for the most part, my coaches allowed me to live in my truth. But that's when I kind of felt comfortable. Like once I went to school and got away from everybody, I was able to this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. And this is me. And everybody kind of accepted. So.
Yeah. And when did you start growing your dreads? Or your locks, I'm sorry.
2 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, yep. When I turned 21, I started growing my dreads. Mm-hmm. So now you know my age. Lock that part
out. That's dope. So then I want to talk about the other thing too. So like you guys live in the South now. How is LGBT culture living in the South?
It is big, and I feel like they accept it. I went to the parade here. Oh my God, I can't wait to go back. COVID's in the way, I need to go. Mm-hmm. It was big. It was big. So the community out here is very accepting. And that's how I felt about it in Arkansas. I felt like where I went to school at, it was more accepting than it was back at home. And you would think that it would be the other way, but I found more people like me in college than I did back at home, if that made sense. So it kind of helped me feel more comfortable as well, actually, in that situation.
So you guys live in Houston now, right?
Yeah, we live in Houston.
So yeah, so Houston is a safe place for LGBT folks.
I would say so. They have a lot of events and stuff for the community, so I would say so.
Nice. So with you and Nikki having a public platform, how'd you guys start that? What was the start of that?
Well, we both always wanted to do YouTube, and she had a YouTube channel before I actually started one. And once we started dating, it kind of was like, let's do it. And we kind of like did it, and we just been doing it ever since then. And we just kind of like jumped into it. We kind of didn't think about it. Just like, let's share this, let's share us. And we've been doing it ever since.
Nice. So you mentioned earlier about some of the stuff that people might say, because you guys are both women and you guys have a son. How do you guys talk about those conversations? And then obviously, I mean, hate comments are hate comments. You just kind of, they're part of the territory, but are there ever things that come up in your comments that you're like, I didn't think about that? Or, is it ever a part of a conversation that you guys have about the way that your relationship is, or the way that you plan to raise your son, or anything?
Yeah, we kind of talk about everything, and we're open to constructive criticism as well. So we definitely listen to what people say, but you don't have to take everything that they say.
Yeah. How do you guys decide what kind of videos you make?
Just based off of how we're feeling sometimes. And actually, we've been revamping our channel. So actually, we're in the process of revamping our channel. So you won't see anywhere something. So actually, you're getting some exclusive information right now.
Nice. Dope, man. Well, we have come to the end of this conversation. What advice would you have for a young person out there who may be experiencing some of the things that you experienced coming up?
And I feel like the young people have been inspiring me for the most part. I mean, them coming out early on, living in the truth. I would just say, just do that. Like, whenever you feel comfortable, don't feel forced. Like at the end of the day, people try to force me my whole life. So at the end of the day, it's when you feel comfortable, when you feel confident, when you're ready, and you'll know when you're ready. I'll tell you that. You'll know when you just like, you know what, I'm ready. I'm tired of doing this and I want to do this. You'll do it. So for the most part, just listen to your inner self. If truly believe in who you are, and you know, people have to accept that. And if they don't want to accept it, leave them behind. That's the most advice I can say to you. Is just leave them behind and live in your truth. And I promise you'll feel amazing. Like I promise you. Just when you're ready, don't feel forced to do it, but you'll feel it on your heart when you want to do and be who you want to be. And just like I said, live in your truth, and you'll know when it's time.
Yeah, for sure. Dope, man. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. Appreciate you for coming. This is another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll catch y'all on the next one.